Hey, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of the Overlay, a poker podcast, brought to you by CCG Poker and Paramount Social Club in beautiful Houston, Texas. I'm your co-hostess with the mostest, Ken. I'm joined today, as always, by Brando. What up, Brando?
What up?
What up? What
Back
up?
at it.
Episode 70. I already congratulated you, but hey, congratulations on 70 episode podcast.
I mean, it seems like a lot.
99% of podcasts don't make it past episode 1. We got 69 on those fools.
I feel like you just made that up.
No, that's pretty true. Like, there's a huge amount of podcasts that only have like one episode up. We don't fall into that. Plus, I got to make a 69 joke, which was great because I kind of felt like I didn't do enough 69 jokes in the last episode.
You basically did none. It was great.
Right. So now I feel like we've got enough 69 in.
Okay.
There it is again. Episode 70. It's part 2 of the WSOP run from Team CCG. Last week, we talked about Joel and his 20K free roll. That was the free roller from CCG who got a free dream package, sponsored by CCG and the hosting cherries. And my epic. Well, not really epic run. My very blasé run of the mystery bounty and how not to play in large poker tournaments in the sense of don't try to get there the day of, fall asleep, and then wake up through level 7 out of a 10-level registration period.
We basically covered like more like what not to do's last episode than to do's. Which, you know what, maybe we'll just chalk it up to the first time going.
It is, and it's
a new venue.
And I will say this, I do have my number one tip. This is Ken's primo tip. I went to the Paris Bally's, right? Because like Paris and Bally's are connected. So like when you kind of go to the backside of Paris, there's like a split off, and then like left goes to Bally's, and then right goes down to like the convention center for Paris, and that's where the WSOP is currently. I don't know are they planning on keeping that for like a year or two or couple years?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think there's got to be at least a couple year run there. So at least next year I feel like I'll have a little bit better idea. But so when you went in, the main registration was towards the Paris side. So of course, remember I went there the late night, checked in for the mystery bounty. I was like, all right, cool. And she's like, great, you're at Bally's, the red room. And I was like, cool, where is that? But then it was late. I was like, screw it, I'm not going to go find this thing now. So then I get up the next morning. I'm going to go down to Bally's, and I got to figure out where it is. I knew where the split off was. So I'm like, it's got to be down in this general direction, but I was a little nervous about it. So while I'm like on my phone, like in front of the kiosk, like the mall kiosk that shows like all the stores and the restaurants, you got to figure out where you're going. And there's like that "You are here" button. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the hardest part is finding out where you are.
Correct. And there's no like square fluorescent like square that says "You are here," which is always very helpful at the mall. So WSOP, if you're listening, that would be a huge point to put in there is the fluorescent star that says "You are here" currently. So I know my fucking starting point. So I'm like kind of stuttering. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going, and I don't want to walk all over the place because I've already felt like I've done that, and I don't know where I'm going. All of a sudden, like a gift from the poker gods, a middle-aged white guy in a baseball cap, wearing a backpack, and like basically an Affliction poker t-shirt, and like a Poker Stars backpack with like headphones around his neck is walking towards, like walks past me. And I was like, if there's any asshole in the entire casino to follow to go towards the poker room, like this is the guy. So when you're lost at the WSOP, just find anybody in a poker shirt / backpack with headphones. Like that guy's going to the poker room, follow him. There's a 50-50 chance that you're going to find your spot if you follow that guy. And I did.
Right.
Bing, bang, boom. Got to the mystery bounty on time. It was great.
Nice.
That closes the Ken side of the WSOP.
That's it. That's the closer. Waited a whole
My
week
closer is, that's how you find somebody.
Man, you must have had a busy 7 days if that's all you could cook up.
That's all I could think about.
All right. So you want to just continue on to Brando then?
Yeah, I mean, I did have a nice...
That basically brings us to like the 4th of July. Basically the 5th of July. Tuesday the 5th. Joel's out. Ken's out.
I'm done with the WSOP. I did play in a Venetian PLO Championship during the WSOP. Obviously, it's not WSOP, it's the Venetian, which was great. Definitely another key point is have your cards ready. Like, give yourself like a half a day buffer. Like, if you fly in the afternoon, like, don't plan on playing anything that day. What you need to do is, if you're planning on playing the WSOP, make sure you got your Caesars player card and that everything is set up with that, because like that took me forever to find and get. Same thing for like if you're going to play a Venetian tournament or a Win tournament, you need a Venetian card or Win card, player card to buy into the tournament. And if you try to go beforehand, like every ding dong in the planet that doesn't have a card is waiting in line to get a card, and it's a nightmare.
Then, yes, you have to wait in line.
It took me like a half an hour to get a Venetian card. Yeah.
Then wait in line if you're an alternate, because you just let 50 people pass you because you were fumbling to find your card.
And you got to be a little aware, because like there were numbers on the alternate tickets at the Venetian, and I was number like 31. And I said to the guy, I'm like, what do I do? He's like, just chill around here. They're going to call the numbers. I was like, all right, cool. And then like I waited for like 20 minutes. I saw a bunch of people like sit, and I like went back up to him, and I was like, and I'm like looking at the people in line, and they're like alternates like in the 40s. And I was like, okay. And then they definitely didn't call any numbers. So I like walked back over. I was like, yeah, I'm an alternate. I'm an alternate. He was like, yeah, just get in this line. I was like, well, I'm alternate number 31. He's like, oh yeah, you're next. Like standard. Oh, we screwed up. No problem. You're next up, buddy.
Yeah,
you're
no
in.
problem. You're in there.
So I got in. I did play well in that tournament. I felt like I played well all the way up into the end. Made day 2, which kind of stunk because day 2 there were so many people in that PLO tournament, which was awesome for prize pool. Not great because they played like 14 levels, similar to what we do at CCG. They only played 14 levels on each day 1, and then everybody came back for day 2, and they kind of rolled it back 1 level. So we started the 14th level over again, but it wasn't enough to play down to like that 10%. So we had like a 16-person bubble going into day 2.
I think it was less than that.
It kind of sucked.
It was like 42 and like 30 paid or something like that.
Whatever it was not cool because I went and played like...
You were one of the lucky 10 that bubbled.
Yeah, I played for like 45 minutes. And busted like 3 before the money, which it is what it is. I mean, those things happen.
So I also played that tournament. That was the first day I was there.
Oh, perfect. Great segue.
Yeah.
You're up.
Yep. So I'm up. So I flew in at like 10 in the morning. That would be like Tuesday the 5th. Was supposed to... They had to deplane us, move us gates, replane us.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Wait for the food for first class, because we had like a 6:10 flight, and we didn't take off from Chicago till like 9. So I mean, we were just sitting there, in misery because we were already up so early. So then we got there, checked in, and then kind of just went straight to the Venetian. Met you there. We played the tournament. Me and Allison both busted the 1100 pretty early, but we decided to stay there and play cash, kind of sweat you. We hung out during breaks. That was kind of like the only part of the trip we actually saw each other.
Yeah, for sure. That was the very end of my trip and the very beginning of your trip.
Yeah, it was literally my first day, and then it was like your second to last day, but you were wiped, so it was basically your last day.
Not to lie, and I know I said it last time, 9 hours of poker, 9 hours of poker, 9 hours of poker, and coming back for that day 2, like I was toast. I honestly don't think I could have kept, and maybe that's why I made a kind of a less than desirable all in. It's a lot to play that many hours of like hardcore poker. This is not like talking like cash games where you're getting up and you take a hour break and you can like goof off. It doesn't really matter and blah 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 blah. Like it was tough.
You always buy more chips,
dude. I was very much burnt out after 3 long days of poker, and that is going into the PLO tournament day 2, where I was like, I want to play well in this, and just didn't. But go ahead. So you get there.
There was like 40K up top.
Yeah, no, it was a good tournament. I mean, they had like 300 and something players.
Yeah, it might have been like 60K at first.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
might have been 90.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was good.
So then I just played cash at Venetian while you made the day 2. I did have some alcoholic beverages, ran up my like first 1,000 up at 2.5 PLO at Venetian. My first 1,000 up to like 4,500. First day, having a good time, drinking, blah, blah, blah. By 2 in the morning, I had $0. I was tilted, and we went home.
I do remember that because I was kind of coming back and forth.
You were just bagging up.
Yeah.
So then the next day was your day 2. My off day before I played the WSOP, I played on the Thursday, the main. And that day I just played cash again. We tried to get you to come out late, but you were like, I moved my flight to 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep.
That was done.
I'm done with Vegas.
I'm out.
See you at home, Brando. I was like, all right, because I'm here for 6 more days.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, you were gone. That brings us to like Thursday when I played. Oh, you know what? I did play that Wednesday, and I had the Thursday off. So I lied. So that Wednesday that you were playing the day 2, I was getting ready to go play the main. And then Allison went to Paris and played cash. She was trying to get you to play cash while I entered the main.
Correct.
But then you were like, I'm out. So you busted.
Well, I looked at those lists on Bravo, and there was like 80 to 100 people, and I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. I'm going to watch Netflix.
It's like, it's like CCG's problem during quarantine. Half those guys went home, half those guys are eating, they're going to miss. But you don't know that. You don't know how many of those 80 are really real. Because what ended up happening was Allison was like 40th to play PLO. I registered the main event, which we talked about. I walked in there. I wanted to play sometime before dinner break. Didn't really care about levels 1 or 2. I slept in because I had just drank the night before. You busted. I was like, I'm going to go with like an hour, 2 hours left before a level before dinner break, which would be after level 2, start of level 3. So I'm going to get there, wait in line however long it is, and then go play, and then have a nice dinner break, and then kind of, really focusing for the last 2 levels of the night after dinner break. Walked up, there was 0 people in line.
Yep.
I was like, this is great. Am I in the right spot? They're like, you are. I was like, here's my 10K cash. Good luck. Guys like, hopefully I'm paying you out $10 million in a week. I was like, thank you.
That sounds awesome.
The cage guys were great. My cage guy was amazing. Walked over to the Bally's side, had no idea where I was going, followed some asshole in a backpack and found my way over there.
Sure.
And sat down and was right in the middle of the room, was pretty intimidating. But, again, I felt better this year than last year, being as that I had, done it before. Everything was a little familiar, even though it was an unfamiliar location. I mean, it felt a little bit easier to sit down and play because it's like, I did this last year. We'll be all right. So I sat down, immediately look at my table. It was like a couple French guys that were older and they're usually tight. And then it was like 2 ladies that were like sweet in their 40s, just like having a good time. It's like their rich husband brought them into it because they're playing it too.
Right.
Like it seemed like they were just happy to be there. And then there was like, there was an older Mexican gentleman who I instantly like labeled as kind of good. And then, an hour in, my whole table had a little, contest over who was, better than who. And one guy's like, well, I got 2 bracelets. And the other guy's like, I got 1 bracelet. Then this Mexican guy was like, I made the November 9. I was like, okay, great.
No kidding.
Sweet. I made day 4 last year. It was my first time ever. Cool. No, I didn't even say that, obviously. So,
right. That's too embarrassing to even say.
That, my table was a pretty tough table draw. And everything was, tight. Everything was careful, tiptoes. Besides the 2 guys that already were like had doubled up by the time I got there. Those guys were kind of,
and just to refresh everybody, what is the starting stack for the main event?
60K.
60.
First level's 100, 100, 100 big blind ante. Second level's 122. I entered the 3rd level, which I believe is 133. So I was playing 100, 300 with a 300 big blind ante, which would be what? 100 bigs? 200 bigs?
Somewhere in there.
So, plenty, 200 bigs. Plenty of, plenty of play left. Obviously, we're on day 1 of the main event with 2 hour levels. So, I did have a text thread again with all the people that bought pieces or my buddies from home or you or, people that were interested. So I kind of got that pulled up. I do remember getting seated with like an hour left till dinner break. I won a couple pots. I remember I picked up ace king. I 3-bet, folded around, picked up 10s, got a low board, got value from like ace high. It was like 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. And the guy called me down with ace high and I had 10s. It was blind versus blind. So I chipped up to like 70, 75K right in the first hour going to dinner.
Nice.
And then so I mean, we're at dinner break day one. I mean, I know we kind of just dove in, but we're there. Now, this brings you back to the Allison story. She had only been waiting for 45 minutes. And then we went to Venitian Steakhouse. She went and got us a table right before the dinner rush break. We made a reservation on the app. It was nice. My diamond card comes through in the clutch again. We go eat dinner. She goes back after dinner. I go back. The steak was great, by the way. I go back to my table, and she had already gotten called and was skipped and was back on the list.
No,
so
nice.
we went through, so it went through over 45 people in about an hour and under an hour and a half. So like the lists weren't as intimidating as they showed.
They make it out to seem, yeah.
She got back on the list. She was like 6. She got right back in. So then, bringing back to me, we're at now 200, 400 for the second to last level of day one. And these next 4 hours, I picked up so many pocket pairs, Kenny. Deuces, 8s, 10s, 6s, 4s, deuces. I picked up deuces 3 hands in a row.
No kidding.
Third time I just folded them. I'm like, I'm out.
I'm not doing it.
So the good thing about, it's kind of like a main event day one dream is you want to flop sets. You want to get these pocket pairs and sneaky make a set of 4s on
because,
jack,
hang on a
4
second.
deuce.
Theoretically, the only way you get kind of that you should get big pots or when there's big second place hands, right? Like it's set over set, or you flop a set and a guy's got aces and he plays a little bit longer. I mean, right. But even then,
I mean, day one
fold.
with blinds 200, 400, there was the 2 chippers that were clearly putting pressure on people, and, their ranges were a little bit wider than the rest of the table. But the rest of the 7 of us were sitting between 50K and 80K. All right there around starting a little bit up, a little bit down, just grinding to, 100K stack at the end of the day would be phenomenal at this table. You know what I mean? And it's going to take a stone cold cooler to get all the chips in the middle. So when you're sitting there with 10s, 8s, 6s, deuces, it's kind of like, man, this is great. You're just calling raises. Nobody's really 3-betting, and the blinds are so low. Even if somebody 3-bets, you can maybe set 9 your 10s or 8s,
right.
So it was kind of great. The problem is I flopped a grand total of 0 sets.
No.
So that just turned into a bunch
dream.
Of,
the dream was gone.
The dream was gone. Blinds are 200, 400. People are just raising to 1,000. Call 1,000 with deuces, brick. Call 1,000 with 8s, brick. Call 1,000 with 10s. It's a jack high board. I'm going to take a stab, get raised. It's like, every pot was just 3 overs, or you tried to take a stab and it didn't work. And that was kind of the table we were playing at. And basically the rest of day one, the rest of that level 4, I just sat there and lost 1,000 at a time with pocket pairs. And it was pretty boring and pretty uneventful.
The nice thing is you're not really getting involved in any pots that you may or may not lose.
No pots. I mean, everything is I'm calling
silver
one
linings.
You didn't lose.
Right. You didn't lose anything.
Right. So I went to like 70K at dinner down to like 45K just bricking. But now 45K is obviously still fine at 200, 400. You're at 110, 112 bigs. You got tons of big blinds to work with. I did muck queens pre-flop. It went me open, 3-bet, 4-bet back to me. And I ended up mucking the queens, and the guy showed the aces, and I showed the queens face up, which was definitely a mistake to be showing cards in a 10K main event.
Yeah.
Don't really want to be doing that. It gives away a ton of information, but I just was like, I was pretty confident the guy had, aces or kings, so I just wanted to be like, screw you, I'm folding queens. And he did show aces. It was like kind of another nice older guy. So, I did prove to make the right fold, but literally within that orbit, maybe it was like the next orbit, under the gun, I picked up aces off of 45K at 200, 400. And, made it 1,000. And then the guy clicked it. The guy, he seemed to be a little bit tilted. He lost a pot already. It would be like the only person who you would like label kind of a loose cannon, or somebody who's not like playing really good. Like if there was a fish at the table, you'd label it that guy, and not even because he's bad, but just because like he's, seemingly worse than everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, could have been me too. I mean, honestly, like everybody was really good at that table. But He 3-bet me to like 3,800, which is kind of a big 3-bet. He's kind of steaming. I put in the 4-bet to 12K under the gun. I mean, I'm super, super, super strong here always. But like, this is, even getting 3-bet, you're already, they have a hand because they're not 3-betting light. And he ends up, tanking for 2 minutes and jamming his queens all in. I snap call, hold, full double up, 90,000.
You did?
Kind of cool. Yeah, knocked him out.
Wow.
We had like the same chips. Got it in. He got in his queens. I had aces. Double up.
Solid.
So, like I said, that's kind of what it takes at this table. And he almost folded queens. So wow. I had the aces versus queens against me. I got away from the queens. He had aces versus queens. And I had the aces. He got it in. Couldn't fold. And he was like, I knew you probably had it. You folded queens. He's like, you obviously have better than queens.
You made me for the jacks though, right?
Me showing my queens
actually worked out for you.
It did, but it almost hurt me. It almost, it put it in his mind that I probably had better. So that was my eventful day one pot. Gets me to 90K. Next hand, I defended the big blind with 8-6, flopped a gutter, checked around, turned the gutter. Guy bets him into me on the turn. I have 8-6 on 9-7-5. Bets the turn. The turn brought clubs. So I decided to raise it to 11,000, fresh off my double up. He calls the 11,000. River's a brick. I got the nuts on the river. I bet 20K, somewhere in there, 18 to 22K. And he ended up folding, and he showed top pair in the nut flush draw. So I did have to fade the flush draw on the turn, but win another pot. And just like that, I'm at 110K.
And this is on
45,
still day one.
2 hands. And I'm like, here we go. Yeah, day one. I'm like, this is great.
I'm ready. I'm winning.
I'm ready. This is just the dream. I'm just gonna bag 100K and be ready for day 2. There was 2 hours left. Take a break, coming back to 200, 500, last level of the day. This is where something very interesting happens. 2 dealers actually got in a fist fight at my table.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. Give me just a slight more information.
I'm going to give you a 2-minute synopsis. The 1-seat bus, because I knock them out, aces versus queens. The new guy shows up. The new guy shows up, is an alternate, sits down in a single chair. New dealer comes in. The dealer has a roly-poly chair of his own. So he's rolling over his own chair, Christina style at CCG, from table to table, because clearly the other chairs don't work for him. Okay, cool. He's got his own chair. The dealer chair was double stacked. That got shoved over to the side because the guy reeled in his chair.
Okay.
The new player that sits down in the 1 seat decides he wants to double up his seat. So he takes the double dealer chair that's now on the side because the dealer has his own chair, takes a chair off it and doubles up his own chair. So the 1 seat now is a double chair like he's not supposed to have. And the dealer chair is over there. That's just a single chair that's off in the background because the dealer has his own chair. Okay, cool. So dealer push comes in. Last hand. It's 2 old school jewelry. You could tell they've been in Vegas for the last 40 years. They could be Elvis impersonator kind of guys. Definitely Vegas type guys, toothpicks and so dealer gets up, pushes his chair over to the other table. The dealer that's being tapped in is like, you can't leave me with a single chair here. You can't leave me with a single chair. Floor, just screaming floor, table 451, making a huge deal because he only has a single chair because the player in the 1 seat doubled his chair.
What?
So the 1 seat
Why
has
did he
the
punch
double
the
chair.
1 seat? Go ahead.
Well, the 1 seat doesn't speak English, had no idea what he was doing wrong. The guy was very malicious at the dealer. He didn't even realize that the 1 seat had a double chair and that was the whole issue. I realized that, but in that time, the floor came, the guy's like, you can't just push over my chair. I need a double chair, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So then the floor's like, okay, we'll get you a chair. Well, that guy just runs over to the next table, the next table over and pulls the dealer's personal chair. He's like, I'll just use this chair. And then the dealer just turned around and whacked him in the face. Don't touch my shit. That's my chair. Get your hands off it. You have your own chair, blah, blah, blah. They're literally in a scuffle over a chair. Then the floor now separates them, sends one of them to the back. The guy who had his own chair got to just keep dealing, even though he got punched in the face.
Nice.
He's just dealing. The floor then deals my table while my guy is deranged and off and blah, blah, blah. He disappears for about 15 minutes, collects himself, comes back, tries to tap in the floor guy that's dealing my table. And the floor guy's like, you got to go to the back, man. You can't, like, you have to talk to a manager here. Like, you're not just getting put back in. You just punched the guy in the face. And the guy's like, you're not pulling me off the floor right now. Throws some F-bombs, takes off his little apron. He's like, I quit. And then just quits and storms off.
Nice.
Pretty nice. I mean, he punched a guy in the face and quit all over a chair. So he must not have been having a good day.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
I mean, I know that it was like deep in the summer. It's the end of the summer. You're probably like on fumes. The main event was way bigger than expected. You're probably not getting as many breaks. But you know what? CCG dealers know it too. You just got to get through that day. Like,
yep,
it's one day. Get through it. Like, there's a week, like, you know, the World Series had a week left and it's done. It's the same thing as like the dealer. It's a Sunday. Like, get through here. You got all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to figure your life out. Get through this 6 hours right now. But, you know, some people can't do it. So back to the action, 200, 500, last level, got 110K. I did lose a big one, 3-betting the ace-5 of clubs on the button, getting called, and I got the ace, deuce, 3, deuce, 3 of club board. So I got the top pair with the gutter ball straight flush draw.
Nice.
And I bet the flop, bet the turn, and it just came brick turn, brick river, and then the guy led river. And, like, you know, I put him on a bigger ace the whole time, and I needed to catch up, and it came like jack 10. So not only did I not catch up, you know, a lot of the bigger aces made 2-pair, and they're going to continue pounding me now. So it's either ace king, ace queen, ace jack, which is 2-pair, ace 10, which is 2-pair. So I just mucked, but I did lose about 25K on that hand. So that put me from like 110 to like 185. And then I kind of just played off the rest of the night, you know, defending my blinds, never getting in a pot, and I bagged 75K even at the end of the day. So that's really my day one was summed up in one big double up with aces versus queens, missing a bunch of pocket pairs, but still bagging 75K from a 60K starting at a pretty bad table. So overall, I was pretty happy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, especially the previous year, I remember I went on a 4-hand run in the last 4 hands of the night to get back to 60K, and I was thrilled. So, like, going from 110 down to 75, it's still better than last year, even though last year felt so much better because it was reverse. I was going from bottom up.
You bagged more chips, but it felt worse because last time you had accumulated a bunch of chips going into the break or to the end of day one, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, sweet. So now we're just going to dive right into day two. While we got time on this podcast. Day two, I'm now in the other side, Paris. I did have a day off. So that was Wednesday. I had Thursday off, which was amazing to have a day off because the previous year I was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So the day off was really nice. So went to the pool, did a cabana, hung out, played poker, but went to sleep pretty early, ate the buffet, I think. Went to sleep pretty early, you know, rested, got to get there for the 11 a.m. start. So wake up 9:30, shower, walk over to Bally's from Caesars, which is not a bad walk at all. Get in. I am now on the Paris side, Paris table 4. So I get there, it's 11 o'clock restart, get there at like 10:40, like thinking I'm, you know, kind of late, pushing it, only got 20 minutes. However, being table 4 in the Paris room, which I had been at, was nice. So I didn't know kind of right where I was going. 10:50, doors are locked. 10:55, doors are locked. 11 o'clock start time, doors are locked. So we're supposed to be starting, and all of us in the hallways like, man, are we just locked out? And are they really starting in there, or are they really this far behind? I guess they had somebody come into Bally's in Paris with like a couple $1 million in fake money.
What?
So they had to shut down the entire gaming like floor for 45 minutes while they sorted it out. So we didn't end up getting started till about 11:20.
Get out.
Now, it was the big,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was the big day 2, which was, day 2D only, which had like 3,000 people in it because all the people played day 1D.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was a really big day 2, but we didn't get started for about a half hour late, and they blamed the game and more.
Did they ever figure out who brought in the phony money?
I don't know anything about it. No, I like vaguely heard about it, but I was just trying to stay concentrated, and I didn't really know or look up what happened afterwards. I mean, I'm sure they figured it out because they kept going and things were normal.
Wow.
So sit down, 75K, look around. Guy to my left was like, I saw on his tag, on his like bag, that he was from Brazil. I was trying to look him up because like, I don't know, all the Brazilians are like supposed to be good these days, but now it was like an older gentleman, and when I say older, I mean like maybe 50.
Careful
55.
here. Careful.
That's old for the poker world.
50 is?
Yeah.
I got 8 years left of being a young guy, and then I'm an old guy?
Basically, yeah.
I don't have an old guy game. I got young guy game. I'm a young gun game.
You know what? The old guys that have a young guy game are really good.
Oh, thanks. Hey, Brandon, you always know how to save it. Go ahead.
I got you.
Great job, dog.
So,
this is why you're number 2. This is why you're the team captain for CCG.
So day 2, we're getting, people are still registering for this thing on day 2. They're filing them in. They have 2 25K chips and 2 5K chips. They're just starting with 60K.
Just ripping it.
And I'm just like, man, if you guys can do it, that's great. I would to have 10K to just light on fire, with not that many big blinds, because we started 300, 600. So you got 600 bigs, but people have been playing for 12 hours. I mean, you're behind the 8 ball on the average stack here. But you know what? To each their own. So I sit down. First hand I play, queens. raise it up to 1,800. Blinds are 3-6, so full 3x with the big blind ante. That's kind of what I was choosing to go. And old guy in the 9 seat makes it 15,000.
Okay. What are blinds?
Blinds are 300, 600.
Okay. 15,000.
So 15,000 to go. Me and him have similar stacks. Then after he just makes it 15K, he just like stares me down. Just like
daring you to call?
Staring me down. So
wow.
I'm like, well, this is scary. I mean, I just fold face down this time because, don't want to show him that I'm folding queens.
You learned from that mistake.
This is day 2 now, so, can't show him that. A guy behind me who called my open ended up calling. So it went like 1,800 call, 15K from the old guy. I fold. Other guy calls. Flop was Jack 6-4. So just 3 unders. Check. Turn king. They get all the money in. Ace king versus aces. Old guy had aces again.
Obviously.
Other guy had ace king. Turned to king. Got it in.
Yeah, it seems kind of wild that he would do that.
I was in last place with queens by the end of it. But
you were in last place.
I was in last place. But you know what? I got away from it again. I don't know why he's going crazy. He's just too scared, or I don't know. But saved me some chips. Obviously, on a queen high on a jack high flop, I'm not going anywhere for queens. Maybe with the turn king, I'm going to get away from it. But it's still going to cost me a lot of money if he 3-bets and I call, and then I check call the flop or check raise the flop, and then it's like I'm going to lose a lot more money if he just plays it normal. But I get away only losing 1,800. So pretty happy about that. So that was the only hand I played at 300, 600. So fast forwarding to break. Break was fine. I went and got some Cheez-Its since I was cheating on my diet. I got some half Parmesan, half cheddar Cheez-Its and a Diet Dr. Pepper, and it was phenomenal. Went back 400, 800 big blind ante. The table was again very aggressive. Asian kid to my right was 3-betting, 4-betting constantly. If it folded around to the Brazilian guy to my left, he was raising. He 3-bet a lot. I mean, there was a lot of, theoretical poker going on. A lot of people ranging each other and just like 3-betting based on the other person's range more than, their holdings. And there really wasn't too many people playing their cards as much as they were playing the player and playing the game. So it was another like high level, tough table, which I immediately found out that I'm going to need to step up my game and, you can't just wait for aces or kings here,
right?
Because you ain't going to win too much with that happening. So the big hand that I play at 400, 800, I got about 60K at the time. I opened to 2K with Queen Jack of clubs in the cutoff. The Brazilian guy 3-bets me to 5K on the button, like he had always done. Great stuff. I got the Queen Jack suited, but I hadn't played a hand, and you know what? He's been aggressive, and I'm like, I'm going to defend here. We're going to play Queen Jack of clubs here. Hijack versus button. We're going to see a flop. Flop, Queen 8-3 rainbow. So I flop a queen. I check. He down bets to 3,500. So he 3-bet to 5K, but then down bet to 3,500. So that was kind of obviously an easy call. Turn is a 10. Another non-scary card. I still got top pair jack kicker. He bets 11,500. And I'm quickly realizing that if I put this in, I'm only going to have about a pot-sized bet on the river left. So I'm probably going to be playing for all of my chips here a lot of the time on the river. By calling the turn, I'm realizing that. However, it's Queen 8-3-10. I got a gutter ball. I got top pair. I got a jack kicker.
Well, boy.
I can be good here. Like, I mean, I understand that, like, he can have ace, queen, and kings and aces and all that stuff. But, like, it's kind of a crazy guy on the button. So I call the 11,000. The river comes to 7. I check. He checks it back, gives up, and I win with Queen Jack, one pair of queens. He said he had pocket jacks.
He mucks?
Said he had jacks, but I don't know.
He might have been saving face.
Yep. So 90K, back to, feeling fine, over 100 bigs. And felt nice to win a pot because I hadn't won a pot in a few hours, and like playing a 3-bet pot against a guy out of position with not that great of a hand felt a little bit like I was going to lose my tournament there. So I was kind of happy to just win the pot, get through.
Which you would have been mad about since it would have been Queen Jack is what you busted on?
Yeah, I would have had to call off on the river. He's just going to be like, ace, queen. I was like, you're good. I lose.
I suck.
Good game. Obviously.
See you guys
while
next
you're
year.
punting off there with Queen Jack. So this is where things get a little interesting.
Yeah, boy. More or less interesting than a fist fight between dealers. About the same.
Yeah, about the same.
Okay, love it. Keep going.
501,000 now. Third level, day 2. Guy makes it 2,000, just doubles it. Another guy calls. I come along in the small blind with 6-5 of spades. The Brazilian guy to my left checks. 4 ways to the flop. 8-5-5. Trip 5s for Brando in the small blind.
Nice.
Flop. Me check. Brazilian guy bets really small, 2,000-3,000. And in my head, I'm like, you know what? This guy is just repping that he has a 6 or an 8 from the blinds, which like I would think about doing too, except for a 5 or an 8. But I actually have the 5, so I'm going to check it and play sneaky. He bets. Other 2 guys fold, and we are heads up on the turn. So turns a brick. I check. He bets big now. It's 8-5-5 jack. He bets big. I call again. Like, you know what?
And you have a 5, yeah?
I have a 5. I have trips. I mean, I'm happy with my hand. I mean, I just don't know. Like, I don't know where I'm at. I mean, I'm assuming I'm smashing him, so I'm just going to let him keep bluffing, right? I mean, it's 8-5-5 jack. I got
don't scare him away now, yeah.
So flat call again. Turn river comes to queen. So now queen, jack, 8-5-5. Backdoor 10-9 gets there. But that's just really sick if he's leading into us with 10-9. Turns an open ender, continues it. Then river's an open ender. I mean, if he's got 10-9, he's got 10-9.
You just lose.
I just lose. So I check a third time, and he goes big again. Big, like, pot. Like 35,000 big.
Okay.
And now I'm like,
what is that compared to your stack? Like 35,000 into.
It's half my stack.
Okay, half.
I mean, maybe a little bit more. I maybe have like 65.
Okay.
So yeah, I have 65K going into this river bet. He bets like 32,500, whatever. So now I'm like, okay, is he just trying to blast me off an 8 here? Because that's what it seems like. I mean, he's never has queens. He never has jacks. He should never have 8s. Like, he could have 8-5. And again, like, if he's got a better 5 than me,
you just lose.
Hopefully we're chopping with the 3 overcards on the board, or I just lose. And so I'm like, my hand's too good. This guy's aggressive. I call. He had pocket 8s, flopped a full house. Okay, hey. So, yeah. And, it's weird because another guy raised, another guy called, I called. He was in the big blind for 1K more. Just comes along with 8.
Seems weird for him to bet that much. Did he put you on a 5?
I don't know.
I'm just curious if you've got basically
probably
the Nutter Butters there, like, maybe that's like a flaw in my play. Like, if I had those 8s, I'd have been like check raising, or like I'd have been like value town. I guess you kept calling.
That's really small. I think from his point of view is that he bet really small on the flop.
Okay,
just because he wants somebody to come along, and then I come along. But like, what am I coming along with? I'm coming along with 8s and straight draws and 5s. Right, those are like what I'm coming along with from the small blind. There's nothing else I can really ever have. So he bets small. I call. Turns a jack. I check again. Now I think like he's betting big, and from my point of view is that like he's trying to bluff me off my 8, which I obviously either have an 8, a straight draw, or 5s. We just said. So he gets my straight draws to fold by betting big. He gets my 8 to fold by betting big, and like think of it as like he's bluffing. So like.
Right.
Because in my mind, I'm leveling here and thinking that he's bluffing. So he's playing like he's bluffing, and I'm thinking that he's bluffing. So it really worked right into his hands. It worked into his hands, and I had a 5. But, like, he was playing it how he would play it if he was bluffing. If that makes any sense.
No. I like it.
So, I mean
clearly
yeah, and then
out,
I think when I call the turn, he now realizes that I have something strong. And then now he just went for it on the river. Just, this kid's probably got a 5. I'm going to get maximum from him.
And maybe he's even trying to represent that he's trying to buy it off, right? Like that's
correct. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's trying to get my 8 to fold. Right. Well, I'm like, ha, I don't have an 8. I have a 5.
Right.
I win.
I'm not going to be pushed around.
Right. So there's the fireworks.
Big
there's
chump
the big
stack
pot.
now. Gone.
So now I got 35K at 500, 1,000, 30 bigs.
It's not bad.
And not bad. And now this is the
pretty
point
sure
where
35,000
like,
into $1,000 big blinds is 35 big blinds, but my math could be wrong.
No, I had 30K after the hand.
Oh, okay, my bad.
The bet was 35K. I had 30K left. But yeah. So
yeah, what a sick bet.
That sucked.
It does suck. I mean,
trying
it
to
happens.
Scroll through, and then here's me. It's just so tight, it's unreal. I almost just mucked the turn. Bronco said, "You still got 60K, right?" I said, "Nope, 30K." So, off of my 30K, pick up Ace King of Diamonds, make it 2,500. Big blind comes along. Jack 4 deuce, check, turn jack, check, river 8, check. He has ace deuce. Flopped a deuce, pair of deuces.
Nice. Winner.
So lose another 2.5 bigs. So now I'm at like 25K. Still have 25 bigs. This is the WSOP main. Plenty of time.
Literally, the idea of a chip in a chair is from that tournament. Like, it's legitimately, that's where it happened.
Right. So, obviously things aren't great right now, but 25 bigs in a tournament with 2-hour levels, you're still completely fine.
Right.
I would say my tilt meter
3
was
good hands away from being back up to like a solid stack.
Yeah. And I would say my
maybe
tilt
2
meter
hands.
was maybe like a 4 out of 10. So I was like fine because it was the main and I was playing good.
Right.
But like I was still frustrated, to go from 90 down to 30 like that and then 25. So
reminiscent of my queens that I punted off of fucking 2/3 of my stack in the exact same way. At the end, I was just like, that was dumb. I probably could have folded there, but you felt good and you were like, or you made me feel good because you're like, no, that you played okay. So Brandon, you know what? You played okay. You played good.
Yeah, I mean, I went check call the trips. I mean, it's like pretty much, and like thought that I got him to bluff 3 streets. Obviously, he wasn't bluffing, but
right.
I thought this was going to work out perfect. Check, bluff, check, bluff, check, bluff, call, win. Nope. Check, I got the nuts. Check, I still got the nuts. Check, I'm betting pot in the river because I have the nuts. I lose. Anyways, so 25K. We got the ace jack suited. Here we go again. Make it 2,500 again. Now, remember that 9 guy? Or remember that old guy in the 9 seat that,
aces.
15,000 and stared in with aces? He instantly looks like he's going to 3-bet his hand. Like he goes down, he pulls out a 5K chip and some more. And I'm instantly like, I'm mucking this. Like, I'm out. Like, that's like instantly what I was thinking in my head. I'll still have 20 bigs. I'm fine. Then he like changes direction and just smooth calls.
Okay. So
he smooth calls, and then the big blind called. So we went 3 ways to the flop. And he's the old guy's the small blind. Flop is ace, 7, deuce, rainbow. Pretty good flop for ace jack in a single raise pot. Figure, you're going to get 3-bet by ace queen and ace king. Nobody should really have ace 7, maybe like ace deuce suited's in there, but like overall, very, very good flop for ace jack. The old guy just bets out 8,000. Almost basically pot right into us. And I'm sitting there and I have like 21,000 left.
Mm-hmm.
And big blind folds. And now it's on me. And I'm like, well, I'm either all in or I fold. Like, these are the only 2 options. Can never flat call 8,000 off of 21,000.
No.
So I'm like, it's the old guy. He looked like he wanted to 3-bet. Basically everything.
He's got you thinking.
Basically everything that is like on the surface is just like on beat fold. But like, I feel like that's the way I've been playing the whole tournament. Is like, everything here just shows that he's got a huge hand. But like, I was worried about like 7s, but I was like, if he has 7s, how is he gonna? And then I was like, maybe ace deuce. He was gonna 3-bet it because all the cool kids say you should 3-bet ace deuce because you have an ace blocker, and I'm just trying to steal it. And then I was like, but the guy's 70. He probably isn't thinking about that. So ace deuce is out. He wouldn't just lead pot into us with 7s. So I'm like, Brandon's all in. I go all in. He couldn't put his chips in faster.
Oh, no.
Like, literally, it was a race. Like, I set all in and fling my chips in.
There's nothing worse at a poker table than when you go all in on a hand that you're not super crazy about. You're probably at like 80% there. You're 80% happy with that hand. Right? Like, it's a good hand. Like ace jack, it didn't get raised pre-flop. Like, you were the aggressor. Like, ace jack should be the best hand. Unless the guy just flopped a better 2 pair, in which case you lose. Fuck it. I'm out. Like, it is what it is. But there's nothing worse than when he just jams in chips before you even get your chips in the pot.
Like, I'm not kidding you. He probably got in 90,000 worth of his chips before I got my 18,000 in.
Oh, no.
Like, he had like 3 20K stacks of 1Ks with like some 5Ks on top. They all just slid it instantly. I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, you got ace deuce? And he's just like, no. And he flips over ace queen.
I'm deflated. My shoulders literally just deflated.
Yeah. So, you know what? I was right. He was going to 3-bet it. And then he just decided not to because it was ace queen offsuit. And then like just throws up all over himself and leads pot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then it goes brick, and I lose.
That's it.
And it's kind of like a deflating end. Like, it's kind of like, it's tournament poker. You don't realize when you only play a few tournament poker, 2 tournaments a year. Like, that happens all the time. Like, these guys at CCG, that happens 3 times a weekend. Yeah. They get down to 20 bigs. They pick up ace jack. They get it in. The guy's got ace queen. He loses. Go buy into the Sunday special. You know what I mean? It just feels a little different when it's your main event one time. Hurts. Not going to play another poker tournament for a while. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, you don't realize how standard that spot is, but like, it still just sucks.
I mean, there's no getting away from it. I mean, how do you play that hand differently? If he 3-bets you is it 4-bet?
No, if he 3-bet pre, I just would have folded.
Yeah. Because he's the super tight guy.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously, he's so tight that he's not even 3-betting ace queen. So his 3-bets are more.
Shame on him.
So,
old gentleman, if you're listening to the podcast, shame on you for busting Brandon with your shitty ace queen off. Race, bro. Well, it was a deflating not a great start for Team CCG because it was a first like official. But we do have some WSOP coming up here, the circuit events that are coming through Illinois and Indiana. I believe there's going to be at the Horseshoe, there's going to be a circuit event. There's also 2 circuit events at in Elgin, which will be weird. I'll be looking forward to seeing that and just kind of how it goes. I don't know. It'll be cool. I mean, I like the circuit events. I always have.
Circuit events. I'm looking forward to it.
I feel like I'm a better circuit event player. I also feel more comfortable in the circuit events, so I feel like I want to do that a little bit more, and then kind of like, work up till next year's main event again. Like that's the goal. I feel like kind of excited about that. Yeah, Grand Vic's actually coming up soon. It's in November 10th through the 21st.
Do they have a schedule out yet?
I know they have the dates out because it goes Grand Vic in the middle of November there, and then there is another Grand Vic April like 6th through the 17th in 23 with the Horseshoe. It literally just says Horseshoe Hammond, Chicago. Late February, early March. So
okay, so
that's got a lot going on.
That's their normal time slot. Because remember, you won that tournament, or you got second in that tournament in February, right before COVID.
Yeah, I wish I would have won. That would have been great. Nope.
It would have.
That's
the last time we've had circuits. It was pre-COVID.
That'll be 3 years difference, right? 3 years from the last time that we were at the Shoe. And the Shoe is actually a really, really, really nice spot for the circuit events.
It really
is. Playing in the venue is very cool.
Perfect.
Like, it's big. There's tons. Like, they put the TVs down. Like, the one thing I did notice about
the final table upstairs or the final couple tables up,
which I couldn't find when I made day 2. I didn't know where the hell I was going because we were all up on the stage because we were down to like 3 tables. That was funny. I walked around like a Momo for like 20 minutes and found the floor guy. I was like, "Where's table 8?" He's like, "It's on the stage, bro." And I was like, "Damn it."
Floor guy's like, "This guy ain't winning."
Obviously didn't ask Pat because I was too embarrassed to ask where table 8 was. Because I'm sure Pat would have given me the standard Ken CCG response when a nice noob player says, "Hey man, where's table 5? Conveniently placed between table 4 and 6. Now get away from me, kid." Which would have been funny to hear from Pat. That would have been great. But I would have enjoyed it, but I would have been mildly embarrassed to ask. Well, hey, we got some circuit events coming up. There's always next year WSOP. I think the plan is to have a bigger crew next year. We're going to adopt some more like junior members onto Team CCG. Like we need a bigger Team CCG. We need
Anthony played the main. We should have just had him on there.
Yeah, totally. I would love to do like a whole like deal for all of us, and like I'm just going to hire Liam instead of Poker News. Like he can't be making that. Like they can't be paying him that much. Like I'm just going to pay him just to do CCG players and just blast out. He could just be like CCG Poker Team CCG. Ooh, I'm actually going to get that Twitter handle. Don't take it, everybody. Team.
Might as well get teamccg.com too. I mean,
yeah. Let's see what comes up.
Take over the world.
Porn site. Damn.
I think my goal next year might be if we get multiple people to play the main. I would like to also play the PLO with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very
play the PLO Championship.
Yeah, I'm super disappointed that I didn't play that PLO. I think I definitely want to play the main next year, and I honestly don't think I'm not willing to do both. Unless I sell some. Well, we'll see how that goes. But like, we should really, really do it. So if you're interested in being on Team CCG, wherever you may be, I would very much like to have some kind of like, what do we have? Like, just like have people come and apply, talk to us, be like, hey, what can we do? We'll get some cool Team CCG swag and other stuff. Like that'd be dope. Like I would be really excited about that. I think
even
it'd be really
if we just
cool.
got, if we got a crew of 8 to 10 people, including us, 6, me, you, and 6 more, it'd be enough to like, have a blog about, have like a whole season of the podcast on each person's runs. And, I mean, like you can do a whole lot of, write-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot can come with 8 people playing.
And you know me, I love content in general. So like that to me is just like heaven. I would love.
And if
to
we
do
got
something
somebody
like
out
that.
there early that was just playing 1Ks, that's great too.
Yeah, I'm not talking 10Ks. I'm talking like, other stuff, like just regular CCGers. Because I was out there, and like I said in the last episode, I ran into so many people from CCG. That 2-time bracelet winner that knocked me out of the mystery bounder, he was pissed because he was like, who the fuck are you? Because like Brad Owen came over and said hello to me, and like a bunch of like regular CCGers, which was cool as shit. I was just happy to see people, right? Like it was awesome. And I really just got a nod from Brad, but nobody else got a nod at the table. So I kind of felt mildly cool that like Mr. YouTube poker guy said hello to me. But and he probably was looking at somebody else and didn't even know that it was me. But it appeared that he was nodding.
Don't sell yourself short.
It appeared that he nodded in my direction, which was like I swooned. I poker swooned. But yeah, I'm really excited about the idea of doing some more Team CCG stuff and kind of having people on the overlay and doing some cool, Twitter takeovers. And it's awesome. It's our most popular episode to date, was your 3-part series of your day 4 run.
We'll get a true testament of our fans on this review.
No, I mean, the first episode did well,
day 2.
and everybody knows we didn't do well, so.
Yeah, guys, like, are you ever going to put out that part 2 or no?
I like the waiting the week. I think it's perfect. So I'm going to upload it tonight. It'll be ready for Friday. So have a good time for Murderers Row weekend in Chicago. If you're playing down in Houston, give a shout out to Mark and his crew. And other than that, thank you as always for listening. Brandon, send us out on your Ace Jack giveaway punt to the old guy.
Farewell. The Ace Jack didn't do it for me this year, but there's always next year.
There's always next year. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.